Hello everyone. So as you can see, title of this video is Hey, Punjabi is a Pakistani language too. Perhaps a better title would have been Punjabi is a language of Punjab, which just so happens to have been divided between India and Pakistan in 1947, but YouTube wouldn't accept a title of such length. So, let's just jump right in here. Living in Canada, I know that it's all too often forgotten that the language is spoken in Pakistan as well, and most of the youth quickly associate the language with India. Furthermore, it's thought to be the language of the Sikhs, only the Sikhs, and that's a problem because we can't associate a language with only one religious community. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Now, if you look at this map here, this is Punjab as it exists today, politically. On the left we have Pakistani Punjab, and on the right we have Indian Punjab. The two areas underlined in red, these two states, Haryana and Himachal Pradesh, these are part of, you could say, Greater Punjab. They're part of the British area, and I believe Ranjit Singh also had territory in these areas. But basically, these split off from what is now Indian Punjab after Indian independence, or I should say what is now Punjab split off from those, because there was a movement, a political movement, to create a state in which Punjabi was the main language. It was the mother tongue of the majority of the population, it was the official language, etc. Now, there are many areas in both these states, both Haryana and Himachal, where the dialects spoken are quite close to Punjabi, in fact, much closer to Punjabi than Hindi, which they've declared as their official languages. But there are also areas where the reverse is true, and there are also areas in which the languages spoken are actually much more unique, and they're completely distinct from both Punjabi and Hindi. So it's really quite a varied linguistic landscape. Why don't we take a look at some raw data? Now, the amount of Punjabi speakers in the world today isn't known with exact precision, but according to the 2001 Indian census, 29 million Indians spoke the Punjabi language at that time. That's back in 2001. Now, the 2011 census was recently conducted, and the stats should come out soon, which will probably add a little bit more to those numbers. Now, these numbers may actually be underreported in that people who speak dialects which are quite close to Punjabi may regularly mark Hindi or other regional alternatives on the census. But for the sake of simplicity, let's just adjust for population, and we'll round from 29 to 30 million. Now, if you want to talk about the amount of Punjabi speakers abroad, by which I mean, of course, outside of South Asia, the numbers may reach as high as 2.5 million, perhaps a little bit more than that. But my sources aren't the most solid. But let's just keep that at 2.5 million. So we're up to 32.5 right now, counting all of the Indian speakers and the Punjabi diaspora abroad, which, I should mention, also includes Pakistani Punjabis. Okay, when we're talking about the numbers abroad, we're also talking about those Punjabis from Pakistan who live abroad. So, how many Pakistanis would you guess speak the Punjabi language? How many people in Pakistan? Well, as of 2008, about 76 million. Okay? Now, also keep in mind that the population growth in Pakistani Punjab is higher than in Indian Punjab, so the number has increased since then, and definitely increased at a higher rate than in India. So, here we are as of 2011, and with some rough numbers here, we can say about 30 million Punjabi speakers in India, 2.5 million abroad, and 76 million in Pakistan, bringing us to 108.5 million speakers of Punjabi worldwide. With such numbers, how could anyone argue that Punjabi isn't a Pakistani language? That Pakistanis don't have as much of a right to the language as Indians? Well, there are political factors at play. If you've studied history, you'll know that the politics in British India were very, very poisonous, and many identities emerged based around language, based around religion, and other similar categories. Now, unfortunately in Punjab, language became tied to politics. Hindu elites began to embrace Hindi, Muslim elites argued for continuing the use of Urdu, and Sikh elites began to argue for the use of Punjabi at higher levels. Now remember that we're talking about elites. The public was influenced by these politics, but never in Punjab was there a time where every single Hindu rejected Punjabi, nor where every single Muslim rejected Punjabi. Okay, we can't view history in black and white. That's not how the world works. People don't act as a community, they act as individuals. Now, after the British left South Asia, Pakistan embraced Urdu as a national language, and politically, Punjabi elites in Pakistan were some of the largest supporters of this move. Today, Punjabi is the only major language in Pakistan without official government support, but things are slowly changing. Since the early 1990s, more and more Punjabi intellectuals have begun to speak up in support of their mother tongue. This whole conception of Punjabiat or Punjabiness, it's a cultural movement which has begun to gain strength, and cross-border communication between Punjabi writers and academics, Indian ones and Pakistani ones, it's higher than it has ever been since partition. And I'm going to include in this video description a link to an article which goes over this in detail. You can read that if you've got about half an hour.
Now, you may be wondering, what are the differences between Indian and Pakistani Punjabi? Well, the largest is the way that they're written. In Pakistan, Punjabi is written in a script named Shahmukhi. It's a Perso-Arabic script, meaning it appears to the untrained eye to be Urdu. And actually, Punjabi, this Shahmukhi and Urdu use the same letters, although Punjabi traditionally has a few more. These aren't always used these days. Some writers may only use one or two of them. The differences are very minor. So, Punjabi as it's written in Pakistan is therefore incomprehensible for Indians. That's Shahmukhi cannot be read by Indians, and Pakistanis typically don't know Gurmukhi. Gurmukhi is the way that Punjabi is written in India. The script used in the Guru Granth Sahib, for example. Now, traditionally, much of Punjab's famous poetry and literature was written in Shahmukhi. Now, that's obviously because most of the authors of Punjabi's classical literature were Muslims, and they would write in the script with which they were familiar, and they were familiar with Shahmukhi because they had exposure to Persian, they had exposure to Arabic. Now, remember that Persian and Urdu were historically the educated, upper-class languages of Punjab, much like you could say English has become today. Persian was the important language in much of the Mughal period, all throughout the medieval period, up until when the British conquered Punjab and changed the official language from Persian to Urdu. Now, if anyone watching this video has grandparents who were educated before Indian independence, before Pakistani independence, you'll know that they could read and write Urdu. It didn't matter what their religion was. Whether Hindu, Muslim, or Sikh, everyone was learning Urdu if they wanted to get ahead. It was a language of power and prestige in Punjab. Now, today, everything written in Punjabi in Pakistan is still written in Shahmukhi. Okay? Online, there are many websites which are completely in Punjabi, and they use Shahmukhi. Now, here's a screenshot from Sanja Punjab, which is a website which publishes every article in both Gurmukhi and Shahmukhi. This article here, you can see, is also published in Devanagari, which is used probably, I'm guessing in this case, it's Punjabi, but it's written in Devanagari, which is used for Hindi, probably for those Punjabis living elsewhere in India who are not educated in Gurmukhi, can only read and write in Devanagari. And there's also an English translation for this article. Here's another website, Vichar, and it's primarily in Shahmukhi, but it also has some sections for Gurmukhi, Devanagari, and English.
Now, there are a few other issues in blocking comprehension between Indian and Pakistani Punjabis. It's not just a matter of the script, of the writing system, the alphabet, if you were. Since independence, Indian Punjabi has borrowed a lot of its higher vocabulary from Sanskrit, following the model of Hindi, while Pakistani Punjabi has done the same from Persian and Arabic, following the model of Urdu. Now, Punjabi higher vocabulary has become identical with Urdus in Pakistan and identical with Hindis in India. I'm talking about higher vocabulary here. I'm talking about the kinds of words you learn in textbooks, the kinds of words you learn in school, the kinds of words you hear on the news, but unless you're having a very detailed, deep conversation, would never really use yourself. In terms of being, let's say, an uneducated villager, you wouldn't use such words. Now, a Punjabi from Pakistan watching the news, an Indian Punjabi, might have a lot of trouble understanding it. They might have a lot of trouble understanding certain words. And this is actually a very big problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold back from talking about it right now, and I'm going to make another video in the future devoted exclusively to this issue and examining how to end this divide.
Now, I want to end this video with a request. I have a few things to say. An appeal, you could say. now is not the time to get into debates about which community, which religion, which, this or that owns Punjabi. If we want Punjabi to be claiming its place as a world language, if we want Punjabi to be recognized as a great vehicle of culture, then all Punjabis need to join together in support of their language. We can all admit that the Sikhs have done great work in preserving and developing Punjabi. There's no doubt about that. Without the support of Sikh organizations, Sikh political structures, the language would be a lot further behind in development. Urdu would be the language of Pakistani Punjab, which it still is right now. Hindi would be the language of Indian Punjab. And the task ahead of us would be much, much more difficult. The Sikhs have done, over 60 years of hard work at the political level in Punjab to help the language out. But despite this, the language does not belong to the Sikhs. It belongs to every single Punjabi, every single person who feels a connection to Punjabiat and their mother tongue. Are you Pakistani? Go learn Gurmukhi so you can read Indian Punjabi literature. Are you Indian? Go learn Shahmukhi so you can read Pakistani Punjabi literature. It's not hard. It takes a month at the very most. Unity in culture is the way forward for Punjabi. Not arguing about who deserves more recognition for who has done what. Let's discuss what will be done instead. And let's work to make Punjabi as vibrant as possible. Thanks for watching.